Hi, I'm Christopher Clark, publisher of NACD Directorship Magazine, and this is BoardVision. Today's topic is the oversight of sustainability and many related issues. Luckily, I'm joined today by Brendan LeBlanc and Kelly Hennekins of EY. Welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't thank you and EY for being our key partner in the Sustainability Handbook this year, so thank you again.
Our pleasure.
It's so great to have the opportunity.
I'm going to answer the question before I ask you the question. My answer is shareholders. Okay. Now the question is, to the both of you, is there has been increased activity and interest by directors in the governance and oversight of sustainability. You've got my guess. What's the reality?
I would suggest that governance and oversight of sustainability is simply governance and oversight of the corporate strategy. That companies execute their business model in the context of planetary limits and societal expectations. So sustainability is a word that goes by a lot of other synonyms: citizenship, stewardship, responsible growth, resiliency, profitability in perpetuity. All of these concepts get at the essence of sustainability. And the idea of how a company's strategy is executed has always been a board issue.
Chris, I was going to say, you're right. It's all about shareholders, at least from my perspective. The EY Center for Board Matters has ongoing engagement with a full range of institutional investors. We also track proxy voting of the 3,000 largest companies in the US. And what we're seeing and hearing from them is that sustainability topics, environmental and social issues, is a key concern. And that this concept is gaining traction among a broader range of investors. Basically, what investors are searching for is a better understanding of how non-traditional, non-financial developments are impacting the companies in their portfolio, and accordingly, they want to know more about board oversight of these issues.
The perception is that this was a soft issue, and I want to hear more about EY's view and work with boards on not forcing it, but enhancing it so it's no longer viewed as a soft issue.
I would like to say that there are a number of companies that appear to be redefining how boards should be looking at sustainability topics. And these companies are just the leaders in this space, and they're constantly communicating with one another, but also with investors to explore how to approach sustainability topics. As you discussed before, it's a very difficult area, partly because it's new, and partly because the topics covered are very broad and very challenging.
Brendan? Yeah,
boards are meant to safeguard the assets of the companies on which they serve. And one of the trickiest assets, but most important assets, are your social license to operate and an engaged workforce. That people come to work beyond for just a paycheck, because they're doing something that they believe in. And how companies actually understand this, incredibly report and capture this information, measure, value, report, it's a business issue. So today, that whole process is maturing, and as boards get more engaged on what do we think our social license to operate issues are? What are the things that really matter to our business? What do we depend on for natural resources, and what are society's expectations of us? And how are we meeting that responsibility?
I did read even the appendices of our handbook, and one that stood out to me, and there were many tips, but the one tip I kind of was ringing true to me was get quick wins. And I was hoping that either one of you or both of you could flesh that out for me.
Quick wins for management, for the company, have historically included cost savings. That you do well by managing energy, you reduce costs. That's fine. You do well by managing safe workplace, and you reduce costs and you increase morale. That's fine. The company manages risks very well if they are engaging stakeholders, those whose well-being might be impacted, by getting them in the tent with them early and understanding what their expectations are of the business. Those are all good quick wins, and producing a report from the company that explains the progress that they're making on these commitments, all good. Quick wins for the board, I would strongly suggest taking a look at the appendix, and we put a model charter in there, and understanding from the board who's responsible for what. What's the governance around your non-financial commitments that you've either explicitly made or are expected of you from your stakeholders?
As an indication of investors' interest on sustainability topics, more specifically environmental and social issues, we've been seeing in recent years that shareholder-sponsored proposals to management on environmental and social topics now has become one of the largest shareholder proposal category, and it's now about half of all the shareholder proposal topics submitted. And while some boards may ask, is this really a big deal? The shareholder who filed the proposal doesn't hold a lot of stock. What we're seeing is that the broader base of investors is supporting a number of these key topics, such as greenhouse gas emissions reduction, whether to produce a sustainability report on an annual basis, and how it is framed out, things like that, a human rights assessment, supply chain management issues. These are increasingly becoming more prominent in terms of the broad range of the topics that boards cover, and we're seeing average support for these proposals increase as well.
This is a great place to end because you always want the director audience wanting more, and I think we tease them to a certain degree. On behalf of NACD and EY, thank you for viewing today. I'm Chris Clark, and this is BoardVision.